So today we are doing a beginner's guide to utilizing the M1 Finance investing app. So we're gonna have the app here in real time so you can follow along step by step. Now, like I mentioned, this is a beginner's guide. If you wanna go into really great detail and get fine-tuned on having your app look something like this, or even in more detail where you have control, I'll have a full guide in the show notes down below. That's gonna be about an hour long to really take you through every single nook and cranny of the M1 Finance. Now, I'm gonna go off screen here. You don't need to see my face as we're going through this. And I'm gonna be loaded up here on the M1 Finance Invest section of this app. So we're gonna go over some basics. We're just going to have a clear understanding of what we're utilizing and how we're functioning with this application. Now, if by any chance you do not already have M1 Finance, I will have a link for you in the show notes down below to go ahead and get you started on the right page. Sometimes we get a nice little bonus for you when utilizing our link, and that does help us out to create more free content just like this. All right, so we are here on, again, the main page of the investing portion of M1 Finance. They do have other sections as well too, like the borrow or spend or earn. Those are completely separate things that we're wanting to look at today. So we're just going to focus on the invest section here for us. Now, as a beginner's guide, just to understand this overall account, we're pretty much just getting to build out our own investing that we want. Now, we have different holdings that we have in our account. So I'm going to go into our holdings tabs, which was up here. You're going to see all the companies that we have. We have, I believe, 13 holdings in this portfolio here, and we got to choose all of these companies. Now, the way you can choose these companies is actually by going through on the left-hand side up there. You saw I hit that little stacked lines. And there is sections here where you can look at news, you can go through the stocks, or if you're like myself, I also go onto other websites to get ideas of which companies I want to invest in. So I knew which companies I wanted to invest in, and I'll show you kind of how to go through that basic process of adding them to your portfolio here too. So these are all the different companies. You can have them sorted by value, you can have them sorted by unrealized gains, or even by the symbol if you have a lot of them and it's easier for you to kind of go through and find which ones you're looking for. Now over here too, you could see unrealized gains in total here, as well as if you go back to your portfolio, you can see your money weighted returns as well too, which is always nice for some people who want to see, even after they sell some of their holdings or earn some dividends, you can see that total that's going to be here as well. So there's both options for different types of investors. If none of that really matters to you, great, just be investing, but those two options are there for you too. Now here in this portfolio, the first thing we always want to do is make sure we have some money in our buying power. And you can see here, we have about 2 cents. So we can't be obviously investing anything right now. So we want to add some money into our account. You can see underneath that, it says margin, and you can see pretty much that money matches almost exactly what we have in real time over here. We don't want to use margin personally for ourselves, but we want to use any cash that we might have. And in order to do so, you're going to see the move button over here on the right-hand side. And from here, you're going to see a couple different options. They have a one-time one-time transfer, I should say, a reoccurring option, smart transfer, which is really cool. You can transfer from your savings account or any other account to hit a certain balance amount. So that way it just does things automatically for you. And of course, a couple of other different means as well too. So if you click on the one-time transfer here, you're going to see how much total you want to go ahead and send. There are some preset amounts, but you can choose pretty much any amount that you want. So if you want to do, let's just say $10 as an example, we're going to go here, and then the from section, we're going to go ahead and click on this, and it's going to give us a set of different accounts. You can see external account we have currently available for us, which of course we need to add in at the back end if we don't already. And then if you have any other M1 Finance accounts, you're going to see those here as well too. Whether it is actually your investing account, which is not going to work out because we want to move money in. You're going to see your high yield savings account and then the total balance as well as the margin as well too. Now, by any chance you notice that there might be a little bit of a difference here between what you saw earlier and what you saw here, is that if you're using margin to go ahead and invest into your portfolio, you have access to your total. For withdrawing any of that money, you have available about 50% of that total. Actually, exactly 50%. So from here, we're going to want to choose our external account. So we're going to choose our Capital One account here. And then over to our next section, we're going to go ahead and select our account. And then we're going to choose our investing portfolio, which is nicely named Dividend Dentist for us. Click on here. And then it's going to ask us if we want to go ahead and make this a weekly, every 2 weeks, or monthly option. We're just going to do the one time for our example here today. Click on done. And then we're going to go ahead and do a review on this as well. And then this is just verifying, just double check to make sure this is exactly what we want. Now, here's one thing to keep in mind is when we click on confirm, that money will be available to us in our account right now, but it will still take anywhere from 1 to 2 business days to pull from your bank. So please keep that in mind. We're going to see this money show up in our buying power right away. So I'm going to click on confirm, and you can see right over here, it says our buying power now is $10.02. So again, it didn't even take anything more than just clicking confirm to go through that. So that way we can have that money available for us to purchase. Now, one thing I do want to quickly mention as well too is that there are only 2 trading windows for this platform. And for some people that might not work for you, but if you're somebody like myself who's just wanting to invest on a regular basis, but not be paying attention onto like the nitty gritty stuff, this works really well. You don't have to think too hard. You could just invest your money and just let it continue to grow, right? So you got, for our time zone here, we're at 7:30 in the morning, or it's going to be one in the afternoon, or you could do one of both if you do, a little bit after the morning trade. Now you can have a preference as well too. You can say the next available trade window, or you can only trade in the morning or only trade in the afternoon, depending on what your preferences are. I just do mine for having it set up for the next time anything goes through for us. So from here, we have that $10, and now we want to go ahead and invest that money. Now, what you can do too is if you have auto invest set on, which ours is currently off, and have over $25 that you're depositing, your money will automatically be distributed into your portfolio based off of percentages that you set up for your account. So you can see here on our growth section over here, you can see we have 41.7% out of 39, which means this money will not go into this portfolio because it is already overweight based off of what we want it to be. We want it to be at 39%, but it's grown quite a bit. So it's at 41.7%. So that's if we do everything automatic, but we want to do things manually for our example here today. Maybe we want to be putting this $10 into a very specific account or stock, I should say, to be able to do this. But again, if you toggle on the, let me slide this back up. If you toggle on the auto invest, that'll do it for you, which then you don't have to do anything, but you just got to make sure you have over $25 in cash on your balance to be able to have this auto invest functionality go through properly for you. Now, for us, because we're just going to go ahead and choose one, obviously we already have our portfolio pretty much set up here for us, which again, if you want to see how this gets set up, I'm going to have that full length video in the show notes and at the end of this video. But let's go ahead and say that you have your stocks that you've invested in already. So if we click on here, now you can see from here, we have our Ally account over here. Now, one thing I do need to mention as well is this is not any financial advice. This is no recommendations on what to be investing in. These are just examples for you. So for ours, we're going to want to go ahead and add that $10.02 into our Ally investment. So if we click on here, it's going to take us directly into our Ally homepage, so to speak, right? So you can see our position and how many shares we have, our average information here for the share price, the total cost, if it's eligible for margin, and then what percentage maintenance it needs for margin. Again, that's only if you do the borrow functionalities, but we're not getting into that today as a beginner's guide. Now here it is showing you where the market was as of late, and you can see the time and the date for that, and then the daily change, and then any news as well too, which is really great. So you can jump right to these articles if you wanted to. Now for us, we want to go ahead and add this $10. So the way to do that is we're going to kind of drag this little toggle button here, and you're going to see the buy, sell, and details options. Now, if we click on the buy section here, you can see here it says that we're just buying Ally Financial exclusively by itself with this $10. Because if we actually go all the way back, I'm just going to quickly show you here. If we go all the way back to our homepage here, and let's just slide this toggle up here, and we click on buy, what this actually means is that when we put in that $10.02, it will automatically go into our portfolio, and it'll find the company or stock or ETF that has the lowest percentage based off of our target that we set up. And remember, our targets are these right over here. This is our target. This is where it's actually at based off of its value. And so it'll find whatever one is the lowest. And right now it's our ETF. We have a target of 2%, but it's currently at 0.7%. So if we put this money into our overall portfolio, this is where that money is going to go for us. Now that's great if you're just wanting to invest and not really pay attention and just let this portfolio kind of do its thing. So for us, we do want to go directly into Ally. So we're going to go back over here and go into Ally. And from here, we're going to go ahead and again, slide back up here, click on the plus buy section. And then from here, we're going to put in the total amount that we want, which will be the $10.02 here for us. We're going to click on confirm buy. And then up here, it says that we'll execute this during the next morning trade window. And now you can see trades pending over here on the right-hand side, which if we go here and slide down, we're going to see the upcoming trades and we can click on view details and we can see it right over here. We can always cancel it if we need to as well. And if we are doing any sells that day, we'll also see that as well. And we can cancel if we absolutely need to. And it'll show us what the next trade window is as well. All right. So now we're back here on the main page of our invest tab. Now, one thing I do want to show you as well too, is like, what if you want to actually add a company into your portfolio? Let's say you don't already have something like an Ally or another stock that you want to already put additional money into. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. But one of the easier ways to here for us is just sliding up in the main section over here for us. And then there's going to be this edit button right over here. It kind of has like a little pencil inside of the circle here. So if we click on edit, this is going to take us to our editing of our actual overall pie. Now you can see all of the different pies that we've created, and you can actually create new pies here as well too. So if you want to do, let's say like fast food companies or anything like that, you can add that pie to be a new section here for you. Again, greater detail in the full length video as well in the show notes. And this is where you can also choose your target percentage that you want for every section to be able to have that percentage be up or down based off of your preferences for those individual sections. Now, if you just want to add a company, doesn't care where it's located, from this section here, we can click on where it says add slice at the bottom. And from here, it's going to take our section over here to adding slices first to stocks, but there is also funds. There's also what they call model portfolios over here. You can see kind of what they're all about. You can go to your wish list if you added companies to a wish wish list, or you can look at your pies of things that you've maybe created in the past. So like I have a consumer products one, a food one that I'm not currently using, and you can re-add them in. But for our example here today, let's go back to stocks. And let's say that we want to add a company that we've never added already to this portfolio as well too. So you can be looking around and say, hey, you know what? I might want to invest into Visa here, for example. We're going to click this little plus sign here for us. And at the top here, it says added slice. And you can see it went up to 1. If we take that away, it'll pretty much go away for us. But you can add a second company and it'll be 2 slices. But we just want to do our one company here. Let's say we already did the research for it. So from here, we're going to click on done on the top right-hand side. And from here, it's adding it to our overall portfolio, not in any of the particular pies that we want. Just as an example, you can do it this way where it just kind of shows up on the overall portfolio. If you want it to go into a particular pie, we can go into that specific pie and then do the same thing where we click edit and add a slice to that as well. So if we want to go ahead and just kind of stick it right here, we do need to make sure that the percentage target equals 100% for all of the different sectors or the individual companies that we have. So we can see here, it's asking us to equal this 100 because we added Visa, which at minimum needs to be at 1%. So let's just go ahead and say this fund over here drops down to 1. And now you can see that warning has gone away. And on the top right, we can click on save. Now from here, it is asking us to confirm all of this as well too. If everything here looks good for us, we can click on confirm. And then that's going to take us back here to our main page. And if we scroll down here, now we can see Visa is available for us to be adding money into. Now you can see it's at $0, obviously. And you can see here that it's at 0% with a target of 1%, which means until this gets to its 1%, it's going to be adding any deposits you add into your account into this stock or any other stocks / ETFs that are not yet at their target percentage. Now I showed you earlier with Ally, if you have any money in your buying power, you can click into this company here, and then we can slide this section up here, and then you can add more to this purchase if you have any of your cash. So we need to add more cash if we want to add any amount to this one here directly. Now, if you're by chance like me and you want to have it a little bit of a cleaner look and maybe have this Visa go into your financial section over here because it just looks a little bit cleaner, there are ways you can transfer it over from one section to another. Or again, if you slide up here, you can go ahead and click on edit, and this is the financial sector, and you can click on add slice. And from here, again, you can just pretty much do the similar thing. Let's say we want to add Visa here, and then we could just remove it from the other section. So this is going to keep it a little bit more within its family of funds that we want to pay attention to in a group setting like finances, or maybe it's, different things that we want to have associated with it. So you can, again, make sure this all equals out to 100%. And because these are within a certain group, the percentages might be a little bit higher for each one individually, where the whole fund itself might have different percentages based off of each sector as well. And what I mean by that as well too, and I'm going to just cancel this here for a second and I'll show you here. Our growth fund here is at 39% because these companies, I want to have more of the lion's share that gets invested. And then you can see our travel fund is only at 6% because I like it, but I don't need it to be a higher percentage. So what this really does for us is it just kind of makes sure that we don't go over that 6%. And if by any chance we do, our M1 Finance account essentially just won't be investing that money that we deposit into it into this particular sector as well. So if we click in here into our travel one as an example, we have two funds. One is at 70% and the other one is at 30, equaling out to 100%, which is just telling M1 Finance that if money does come into here, it also needs to be distributed evenly between these two companies based off their percentages. And what's nice is you could change these percentages at any time as well too. So there's no need to just be sticking to these percentages. You can swipe this up, click on edit here, and then change these percentages as you see fit. So if this we want to drop to, let's say 60%, and then move this up to 40%, right? Because we want to equal out 100. Click on done. We can go ahead and now save this, confirm that we're doing these changes. Now you can see here, our Airbnb is actually up higher than our target percentage of 60% by 8.4%. And that our bookings holding right here is actually down based off of our new recommendation. So if money comes into this particular group of funds, more of that money, if not all of it, will go into the booking one because now that percentage is lower than what our target actually is. But again, you can even buy into companies that are over their percentage. If you want to do manual, like we showed earlier, just go into the individual stock and then click on buy, and whatever your buying power is, you can go ahead and add that money in to be able to do that. Now you can see here, because we don't have any cash in our stuff here, it's just assuming that we're going to borrow that money to begin with, and it lets us know what our interest rate is. That's if you want to go ahead and be doing something like that, but that's not what we're showing in today's video. Now, when you open up your M1 Finance account for the first time, it will have you go through the process of adding a bank on file. And keeping in mind, you can actually only have one external account on file at a given time. And if you did want to actually go through the process of changing that out, you just need to reach out to M1 Finance to go ahead and switch it out and have that removed so you can add a new bank on file. Now, if you want to go ahead and sell portions of any stock that you actually hold or ETF that you hold, and you want to go through that process, process, I'm going to quickly show you how to do that here as well too. So you can click on any of the funds that you have, or you can actually just sell directly from this section, and then it'll pull from any of the pies over here that might be a higher percentage. But I know which company I want to sell a little bit of as this example. We're going to go into Amazon here. And again, no recommendation here, just showing you as an example. We're going to go ahead and slide up in this section here, and we're going to go ahead and click on the word sell. Now from here, we're actually just asking how much we want to be pulling out dollar wise, keeping in mind that this will vary slightly based off of the timing that it sells. So it's going to do its best to try to get you exactly what you're asking for, but it might be off by a few cents when it comes to the end result. So for our example, it shows you how much value you have in Amazon. So from here, let's just say you want to go ahead and sell $1,000 in Amazon for our example. We're going to click on confirm sell. And then that right here is going to let us know that it's going to be executed on the next morning trade. And you're going to see the trade pending show up here if you didn't already have it. And now you can see our cash actually shows up at $1,000. And what this means is M1 Finance says, hey, if you're going to use this money to go ahead and make another purchase of another stock or ETF by the time this sells, we can go ahead and do those two transactions at the exact same time for you without having to wait till the next trading period. So you can go ahead and plan this $1,000 towards anything else in your portfolio. If you want to be withdrawing that money, you will have to be waiting until that money fully clears to then be able to withdraw. So you can't withdraw that $1,000 until a couple of days after that sale has gone officially through. But again, it'll go into the next morning. So if we actually slide back up here and go over to our upcoming trades and click on view details, we saw earlier that we did the Ally trade for purchasing, but if we swap over here to sell, you can see our Amazon sale right over here. And again, we can still use that money to go ahead and make other purchases. If we want to cancel, you can click on the word cancel and then it'll just get removed from there. But if we want to now, we can go ahead and go, let's say, to our tech here, and let's go ahead and say we want to buy into our Microsoft, or, and I'm going to show you this next section here too, if we just want to buy into our overall tech pie and let M1 Finance do its thing, I'm going to go ahead and click on plus here, and I'm going to say, hey, I want to invest $500 in this overall pie over here of all my tech. You guys do the job of distributing it however you see fit. Based off of its percentages, it looks like all of it's going to go to Microsoft here for us, but we can go back to our pending trade order and take a look here. And sure enough, yeah, all of that $500 is going to go to our tech pie right over here. But because Microsoft is so underserved right there for its percentage, it is going to all go to Microsoft. So let me find another one that might be a little bit closer just so you guys can actually see how that will be split between those. So those are a little off as well too. Actually, what I'll do here is I'm just going to do the rest of the 500 on the overall portfolio. So I'm going to show you guys what this will look like. So let's just say the rest of that 500, I want to go into the overall M1 Finance portfolio. We're going to go ahead and show you what that looks like here. So I'm going to go into the view details, and now I'm telling it, hey, just put in that $500. And because we're adding that Visa in from earlier, it is going all to that Visa account right there. Now, if you didn't want to have it do that, you can go and choose which fund you want it to invest in, or whichever pie you want it to invest in as well, if that's not what you like, which is really cool. You get to have that control if you want to. And if you don't want to have any of that control, you can just let it do its thing, and then M1 Finance will be just investing that automatically on your behalf, so long as you have your auto invest turned on. So back here on the main page, we actually went ahead and just kind of removed some of those additional examples that we had. So we're kind of just back to that Ally purchase here. Now, we obviously have our graph over here, and you're going to see the different sizes of some of these sections over here. And the reason for those is actually based off of that actual and the targeted percentages that we have. So that's why there is a little, Visa fund right over here that is much lower than the rest of these, and because it has no money in it. And then you could see some of these other ones that are close to being right where they are expected to be based off of their target percentages. So just something to keep in mind. This always looks great. If you actually want a different visual, you can actually hit this little button over here on the top right hand side of that pie graph. If we click on this will actually take you to your overall chart. So this is really cool. You can kind of hover over and you can see your finances overall on your account based off of the time frame. And by the way, just something I love to show people is we started this account with $100 a couple of years ago. We actually have a separate channel that actually shows you the journey that I'm on with this by itself, as this is an education channel here. But you can see over here, you can go to year to date over the last 3 months, all these different options here for you. You can also see your overall net cash flow. You could see your market gains, and then you could see your dividends earned as well, and your total percentage, and then the amount of holdings that you actually have in your portfolio. That went up for us during the recording because we added in that Visa as our example. So like I mentioned, this is a beginner's guide when it comes to utilizing M1 Finance. So this is just kind of showing you the starting point when it comes to getting this account up and running. Now, if you do not already have M1 Finance and you want to start investing for the long-term future, I'm going to have a link for you in the show notes down below to go ahead and get you to the right landing page to get started right away. Now, that link does help support us out so we can make more free content just like this for you. And I mentioned to you earlier, I actually have a more detailed, complete guide, as this is just a beginner one, for you, so that way you can learn all the nuance and all the steps to get everything set up properly for your financial future. Now, I'm going to post that right over here for you, so go ahead and check that out and get your account set up properly with your M1 Finance.